We did it! Promoting the game actually worked and we passed the wishlist threshold. Who would have thought self-sellout is a real thing? Thank you, by the way. Anyway, would you look at that? For many years we've been criticizing the overlords of Tencent. But now, all of a sudden, people wish they would have had what they have. And against all odds, that also includes all the Tencent gacha. So a few days ago, as I was browsing the news, because truth be told, league content is kinda dead at the moment. Like, you only have 3 options. You either do esports and compete against Cadrel, or you talk about skins, or you actually play League of Legends. Outside of these 3 things, there is not much to do unless you wanna break rights TOS. So on my righteous path of research, I found this note. Of course, this is a note that many of you may have seen, and it came from the Golden Spatula. I now realize the irony of this microphone. Anyway, the Golden Spatula is the Chinese counterpart to TFT. Now, on paper, you should remember that the Golden Spatula and TFT are 2 completely separate games. In fact, the Golden Spatula is technically not even operated by Riot Games. More than that, it is ran in collaboration with Riot Games. Essentially, Tencent knows that the Chinese market is completely different from the West, and since TFT has been very successful in China, the Chinese audience started requesting things that wouldn't pass in the West. I mean, if you don't like the current level of gacha in TFT or in League, just keep in mind that the vast majority of anything purchasable in the Golden Spatula is just gacha. That's how you get all the cosmetics there. I mean, their official posts are just promoting gacha, and they are not even hiding it. The official title is Head to Gacha, Eternal Relic. Can you imagine that in the League client? And so the game has been split into TFT for the West and the Golden Spatula for China. This is pretty much the simplified version of why the Golden Spatula exists. Now, as far as we know, this collaboration between the 2 sides of the studios has big benefits. And that is because, from the information that we have, it is the LA studio that actually makes the gameplay and the mechanics of all the sets for TFT, after which they funnel all of that gameplay into the Golden Spatula. Which means the Golden Spatula runs on the exact same sets that we have. So Lore and Legends is also just wrapping up, and they are also heading into the Space Gods. But in return, the vast majority of the cosmetics you might see in TFT are all made in the Singapore studio. Meaning it is definitely taking the Chinese audience into account. And as a result, profits reign. This is also a very simplified version of how TFT actually works. Even though these 2 games are technically completely separate, these 2 are still exchanging their content, but occasionally it just so happens to be that the Golden Spatula gets something that TFT doesn't. And while normally it is nothing more than skins, this time the Golden Spatula is getting something massive. Now, the news we got actually started on April Fools. Of course, this year's April Fools has been quite heavy. Not only has Riot had some fun with gameplay in all of their games, but this year's April Fool's skins have also been very good. And on April Fools, Riot even accidentally leaked the name of the upcoming champion. I assume Riot expects you to read leaks. But besides all of that, the Golden Spatula also posted this. To honor the greatness of Runeterra, we've made a very important decision for the future of Golden Spatula. Set 16 will launch alongside the new set, and will never go offline. That's right, no end date, no sunset, no farewell. Set 16 will remain available forever, coexisting with all future sets. Stay tuned. Of course, Set 16, that is Lore and Legends, has been one of the most popular sets of TFT ever. And again, it proved that Runeterra-based sets are simply really popular. But also, it proved that Lore and Legends specifically had a really good spark. And so, the joke for the April Fools is that this set was so good it is never going away. But that's all it was, just a joke. Or was it? Because exactly 1 week later, it's real, Set 16 will not be discontinued in Set 17, after hearing the community's feedback from our April Fool's post. The Golden Spatula team has decided to keep set 16 playable alongside set 17, while your rank will be reset for a fresh climb. At the same time, new gameplay and content will be added, bringing even more excitement to your experience. As for how long it will last, please share your thoughts in the comments. And let's see what the future holds. So yes, it is exactly what it looks like. By all definitions, Golden Spatula is getting TFT Classic. And because there will be new content on top of this, it is Classic Plus. You hear that, Blizzard? And so this is exactly the post that popped up on TFT's subreddit, where a conversation was had. I'm so confused by Golden Spatula. Honestly, everything the Chinese team does at this point seems so much better than the American one. Is there some sort of reason for this? Like it's in their contract that the Chinese client just has to be better 100% of the time? This is honestly the general sentiment you'll find. People actually want the Tencent version of the game. Am I reading that right? Truth be told, I don't think people know exactly what they are talking about. Again, gameplay-wise, the two games are near identical because it is the LA team that actually makes the gameplay. So realistically, when it comes to gameplay, the only difference is that Golden Spatula is now gonna have TFT Classic. But also, there are the chibis. Yes, the Golden Spatula were the first ones to have chibis, because the cosmetics team makes them there. Also, the chibi style is largely popular in China, but that also means that because they don't have to deal with porting the chibis over, the Golden Spatula simply has a lot more of them. But again, remember that all of their chibis are part of gacha. For us, that's only like half of them. But that doesn't stop the fans. I don't understand why Riot is insistent on making TFT less featured than Golden Spatula. Yes, Golden Spatula has gacha out of the wazoo, but it has so much more content that I want to pull for than TFT right now. The chibis in Golden Spatula are S++ tier in terms of hitting champion, fantasy and offering variety. Case in point, Poro Rider Sejuani, all of the Kench chibis, and Arcane Hecarim. They even have Isha. No joke, I've been sitting on tokens for way too long because I'm flat out uninterested in the hyper-serious, unbound and chibis of the same 6 champions. Pengu Garen is the first Treasure Realm option in a long while that has caught my attention to the point of strongly considering tokens. I know the US artists, our cosmetic designers are crazy talented. They should be given the opportunity to flex their skills and create some super cool chibis like those on Golden Spat. See, that's the catch! I'm pretty sure the LA team doesn't even make the chibis. But ignoring that, I somewhat agree with this. Even though I still hate the chibi style, as a style in general, the Unbound champions are cool, but they are not exactly something I would be going for. I am a very traditional Little Legends fan. I am still playing with Baron, thank you. But more importantly, if you go through the comments, you might notice that people are actually fine with gacha now. I mean, can you imagine this a few years ago? When TFT added the first gacha, ooh boy, did people go crazy over the $200 skins. Me on the front line. But very quickly it turned out that TFT was really using the money for content. And so people became fine with the gacha because we saw the results. We saw that the whales actually funded really good game. This is the advantage that TFT has over League in general. In League, it is much harder to prove that the money from the gacha is going towards something in the game. Though I guess we'll see what happens with the League 2.0 update. Although, that might be related here. You see, one of the big reasons why one would make a client that is completely in-engine would be to showcase the skins. This is exactly what Wild Rift does. In fact, because Golden Spatula is a mobile game that is not reliant on the Riot client, it does that too, and you can have the high-definition models in the client. So what if there is a provable evidence that having these high-res models actually help you sell skins? If that's the case, wouldn't it be in League's interest to have an in-engine client? Think about it for a moment. With that said, there is one thing that is definitely true in all the comments, and that's the fact that Golden Spatula simply has a lot more cooler cosmetics than TFT. And I'm not even talking about the chibis, I'm talking about the boards. Ooh, you can tell the Singapore team is really good because those boards are great. But again, on top of that, they also have an incredible amount of chibis. And that is because, going full circle to the beginning, the Chinese audience is different and they are waiting for more skins to be part of the gacha machine. This is something you can't do in TFT because just imagine what would happen if Riot released 6 different chibis, all of which would be part of a gacha at the same time. The Western mind would probably break. And the same goes with the boards. Yes, you could make them ridiculous expensive, at least it wouldn't be gacha, but then TFT would have the reputation for having ridiculously expensive skins. And Riot can't do that because Valorant and 2xKO already do. And so, after all of that, we are left with one final question. Are all of these comments happening because the set 16 is just that good? Or is it because set 17 is not that good? Truth be told, I haven't played set 17 just yet, so I honestly couldn't tell you. But from what I've gathered, no one is really complaining about set 17. It's more that set 16 was just that great. The theme was really good, it was decently balanced, besides T-Hex, and it had pretty good mechanics. And now that Golden Spatula doesn't exactly want to get rid of it, they mentioned that they will even give it more content, which could be just more units slapped on top of that at the cost of balance. But more likely than that, in their case, new content likely means canonical chibis and boards, none of which we'll likely see in TFT. And so, I can't believe that after 7 years, TFT is now considering TFT Classic. Wait, TFT has been out for 7 years already?